E- Hello, good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday evening. I know you're like, it's not Sunday, Tina. Why are you on? Um, well, I'm gonna try to do one tutorial every Wednesday also. So we'll see how that goes. Um, Welcome to my craft room. So my name is Tina Bickford. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Here in the US. I am located in the frigid Northeast at the moment. Um, if you are joining me live, go ahead and leave a comment and let me know that you're here. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what the weather is like where you are. It is very cold. It is, looks like it's 12 degrees right now. But thankfully the wind has died down. I guess it's not New Orleans with 8 inches of snow, so there's that. That's good. Okay, so there's this new trend going on. I've been seeing all kinds of videos on it. It is called the fault line card. So I don't know if you guys have seen the fault line card yet or not. It's very cool. So, and it's very simple. So I actually saw a photo on a Facebook group for Stampin' Up! Demonstrators by a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator by the name of Lonnie Spenlove. And she was showing her her design, her fault line card design. So I did a little bit of research, and there are other designs that have been called fault line cards. Going back, I found a video going back 5 years ago for one that's a fault line card. Not like the one that Lonnie did, but still called a fault line card. So I thought what I would do, if I can get through all of this in an hour, and try to keep it to an hour. I thought maybe I would show you all 3 cards that I have been playing around with. So first, I figure what we'll do is I'll show you Lonnie's card, the one that Lonnie made, her design, her measurements, or as close to her measurements, I think is what I could get with playing around with it. And then I'll show you the one that I found from Doolally Crafts from 5 years ago. That's completely different. Well, it's not completely different, but it's different. And then I'll show you the one that I came up with that's kind of a combination of the two. So without further ado, let's switch down to the desk camera because you guys do not want to hear me talking. Okay, so we're gonna do, this is a fault line card. So I don't know if you guys have been seeing these on YouTube videos or around Facebook and Instagram and all of that. So this is it's supposed to be modeled after, there's a trend in cake decorating called the fault line cakes, where they use the frosting to make this fault line. So I'm just going to start with this is Lonnie's basic design. This is how she did hers. So I'll just show you how to do that one. I'll give you the measurements real quick. And as always, at the end of my video, I will put in the description a list of all of the products that I'm working with tonight, and a link where you can shop with me if you are interested in getting any of these products. All right, so we're just going to start with, so our card base is 4 1/4. It's 4 1/4 by 9, and it is scored at the 5.5 inch mark. So this is your card base. You end up with something that looks like that. And then there's another piece of basic white cardstock that is, so this finished card is 4 1/4 by 5.5. So you want this piece is going to go on the inside. You want it to be the same size as this, but just a smidge shorter than the 5.5. So when you go to the 5.5, when you measure on your trimmer, sorry, I don't have my trimmer handy. When you measure on your trimmer at the 5.5, you're just going to, let me see if I can see that, at the 5.5, you're just going to pull it on this side of it, just a smidge, a teeny tiny smidge. And that's going to allow for the score line, the fold mark here, so that this will sit nicely on the inside. Okay. And then we need 2 pieces of designer series paper, and you want them to be coordinating, but a little bit different. And you can use the same, I'm using exactly the same piece. It's double-sided. So I'm going to be using one side up on, for this design, and then this design on the other side. So they coordinate. Okay. All right. So what Lonnie did is, we took this piece of designer series. I didn't tell you what size it is. It is 4¼ by 3. Okay. So when you look at this card base, you, because you did a 9-inch long and scored it at 5.5, it means you have a 3.5-inch front here. So you have a 3.5-inch front here. And then this is 3 inches. So what she did was, we're going to tear this, and you're just going to hold these 2 pieces together, and we're going to tear them at the same time, and we're going to tear them down at an angle. Okay. So we're just going to tear, and it's okay if they're not exactly even, or you get all weird and wonky on it, and you're just going to, there you go. All right. So now, so what we're going to do is we're going to glue this to the underside of the white cardstock, and on both of them. Now, when I watched Lonnie's video, she put it all together and then she rolled the edges. I personally found it easier to roll the edges before I had it all glued together. So I'm just going to take all of these pieces, keeping these together, because these are this is the side I ripped together, and then this is the side I ripped together. So I'm just going to take this, hold my thumb and my index finger here, and I'm just going to come in with my other index finger and just kind of roll. And I'm not being real gentle about it. I'm just giving it a little roll, and you can kind of fold it and roll it and do whatever you want here. Roll it with your thumb, give it that look, just like so. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And I'm just going to come in, because the designer series paper is thinner. You do want to be a little bit more careful not to rip it unless you want it ripped. You know, you can come in here and give it a little extra rip and tear and do whatever. So you're just rolling that like so. Do the same thing with this one. Same thing. This one, just giving this one a roll like so. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be messy. It can be whatever you want. If it rips a little bit, that's all good. Just do that. Come in here with the designer series paper and do the same thing. Now, what's nice about the designer series paper is when you tear it, you will see some of that other design, depending on how far back you roll it and all that. Okay. So, all right. Now we're going to glue these together. Now, when we glue these together, we do want to make sure this is the edge of our designer series paper. We want to make sure that there's no gap there. So that's where you want to make sure you line that up and adhere that. So I'm just going to use a little bit of my green glue. I'm just going to put it just kind of all over. And I'm going to line this up so that my side edges match. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one and this one. I almost put glue on the wrong side of the paper. Okay, so we're just gonna throw some glue there. You want to make sure you don't get too close up to the rolled edge because that's going to be exposed. We just want to make sure that our side edges, our edges side to side, and you just want to make sure, see how that has a little bit of a gap? I don't want that, so I'm just going to pull this down so that that is hidden, and there you go. All right, so now we have this. So far, so good, wicked easy, right? So this part is going to go, this part I cut, I didn't tell you the dimensions of any of this stuff. So this is 4 1/4 by 4. So this is just going to lay in here. I'm not gluing anything yet. This is just laying in here. And I'm just kind of, I'm like centering it from top to bottom, but it goes right from side to side because it's 4 1/4 inches wide. So I'm just kind of center to center. And I'm going to just make sure everything fits and there's no little white spots. And I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to give this some glue. You do want to make sure that you don't get it too close to the bottom, because I mean, you could cut your designer series paper to the full 5 1/2 if you wanted. But you just want to make sure that you don't accidentally glue your card shut. So and this is going to look messy. Right now, it's going to look messy, but that's all right, because we're going to cover that up like so. Oops, I have that crooked. Look, so, and then we're going to come in with this one, and I'm just going to put glue on this for right now. And I'm going to take this last cut edge, I'm going to line it up to the bottom of my card base here so that I have it right at the bottom. And I'm going to just press that in just like that. Oh, of course. That is the thing with the Tombow multi-purpose glue, is it does give you that little bit of time for your wiggle room there, but it also, you know, gives you time that it can, you know, move around on you. All right. So the thing that Lonnie had mentioned in her video when she did this is very floppy. It's very floppy because it's got just that designer series paper there. So what she did is this piece that we cut just a skosh shorter than the 5 1/2. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just under. And we're going to just glue that right inside there. And we're going to cover up all this mess. I'm going to cover up all the mess that we made, just like that. And I am lining it up with the bottom of my card here and the sides. And that gives me plenty of room up here where the score mark is, so that my card closes nicely. It, you know, if you can't jam it up into that, right up into that score line, or your card's not going to fold nicely. Oops, like I just did. All right, give that a good squish. All right, so there is the fault line card. This is the design by Lonnie Spenlove. And then you would stamp on it. You to put your elements on there if you wanted to, if you had some die cuts, or, you know, whatever you wanted to put, stamps or whatever. So with this one, I just stamped on the bottom. I threw a couple of the butterflies on here, die cut butterflies from the Beautiful Butterfly set. Same thing, Beautiful Butterfly set. For this one, I chose, instead of using a designer series paper, I just used a really contrasting colored cardstock to this this navy and blue look. So there's that one. Easy peasy, nice, easy design. And this is beautiful. This is a beautiful card. All right. So the next design that I saw was one that looks like this. So this is technically called a fault line card because it's got this, you know, fault line in the middle. But this one is using a die cut. So this one's done a little bit differently. For this one, I'm doing my card base. Now you can do your card base 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2 if you like the way that that opens that way. I tend to like my cards opening this way. I don't really know why, I just do. So I did my card base 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 and scored it 4 1/4, but I did not do that. So I'm just going to fold it over and give it a little crease with my bone folder. Okay, so there's card base. And that, I'm going to find my paper trimmer. Oh, I got it. I got my paper trimmer. All right. So I want a layer on here, a Melon Mambo layer. So I'm going to use a piece of Melon Mambo. And I cut mine. I like that really narrow border around. So if your card base, folded card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and you just cut it 1/8 of an inch shorter on each side, then you have this nice 1/16 of an inch border around the whole card. Like that. Okay. Now, you can take some weight out of this card and, you know, some weight, some bulk, and do some paper saving just by, instead of making this a full sheet that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, we're going to actually make it like a frame. So this, you don't have to be precise because most of it's going to be hidden anyway. So I'm just going to take my paper and I'm going to line it up, my cardstock. I'm going to line it up to the 1/2 inch mark over here. And then I'm going to come in with my cutting blade, which is the dark gray cutting blade. And I'm going to line that up to the 1/2 inch mark on this ruler. And I'm just going to come down and cut until I'm about 1/2 an inch. I mean, you can go right to the, because this is 5 1/2 or a little under 5 1/2. So you can just do that, or you can just be roughly. So I'm going to do the same thing, rotate it. I'm caught up on that. Okay, rotate it. Come up here to the 1/2 inch on my side blade, side ruler, and drag that down till it's about 1/2 an inch. Rotate it and do the same thing. Come up to the 1/2 inch, cut down, rotate it one last time, come up to the 1/2 inch and cut down to this cut mark right there. Now, I have a frame that I'm going to use for my layer. No one's going to know that it's not a full sheet of paper, and it takes a little bit of the bulk out of the card. We'll do the same thing with the third card we're going to make. And I have this piece of paper, this piece of cardstock to use for another project. So we have that. All right. Now I am going to glue this on. I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue. Come in here, and now remember, with a multi-purpose glue, you do not need a lot of this. You do not need a lot. So I'm just going to layer that on with my nice thin 1/16 border. Sorry, pick it up. It's a little bit easier to move it around while that glue is still a little wet. That nice little press there. Okay. Now, I have a piece of this designer series paper. This is from the Bloom Impressions. This is that from the Salebration. This is a $60 order qualifier. You can earn this free with a $60 order. This piece is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to take this one and I'm going to glue it. And this is, I'm taking a risk here because I have not die cut. I have not die cut my last layer yet. So it's a risk. Now this one to me is directional, because the stems look like they're going in in a specific direction. So I'm going to make sure my card is opening the right way. And I'm going to put this on. When I put this this designer series paper on, I'm going to center it left to right and also top to bottom. It's not going to be the same border around all four sides because it's cut shorter than here. So, oh no, you know what? Huh, I didn't. I did that on my sample card. I did cut it a little bit shorter so that it was, that's a pretty card just as it is with a little sentiment on there. This paper is beautiful, you guys. I did on my sample card, I did cut my DSP a little bit shorter because you don't see anything past this point or past this point. So, all right, we're just going to set that aside and we're going to come in with this piece of basic white cardstock. This is 4 inches by 5.5. It's much longer than we need, but I'm going to come in here with, now I am using dies that are in the, I think these are in the Last Chance products. They're called Around the Bend dies. I love them. I'm kind of sad that they're leaving, but I'm going to use this one right here. This is cute. This one still have paper stuck in it. All right, so I'm just going to take this. I'm going to bring in my stamp cut and emboss machine. Move this out of the way here. Oops. And something dropped on the floor. All right, well. All right, so I'm going to bring this in. This is my stamp cut and emboss machine. So when you are doing dies, you need your base plate 1, you need your die adapter plate 2, and you're going to need both of your number 3 cutting plates. So I use it, always use the one that's like scratchy on the bottom. I like to cut down. There are some demonstrators that like to cut with their dies with the cutting edge facing up. That's just not my preference, and it's whatever you like. So with your dies, if you don't know about dies, they're flat on one side and they have this cutting edge on the other. So you're going to get all of this beautiful detailing. It'll cut everywhere that there's, and some dies actually have scoring on them too. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to line this die up the way I did the sample. Is I'm just going to line it up here so that that is up in the corner. I'm going to put my second cutting plate on and roll it through. Okay. And then you get, take that extra paper out. And you get this is just this beautiful, these are all like all of those marks that you saw in the die and the leaves, they scored it. Okay. Now I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm just going to line that die up like so. It slipped on me. Now you can use post-it notes. You can use post-it tape. You can use washi tape, whatever you want to keep your dies in place. This one I'm not too worried about, although maybe I should be. Okay, like so. And I'm not trying to be real precise with it, but I just want to make sure I have enough to work with. So roll that through. Oops. And what we're left with is a piece that looks like this. Now what we're going to do with this is obviously, well, you could put this on your card if you wanted like this. That would make a really pretty card. That would make a really cute card. But what we're going to do is we're going to cut it. I'm just going to bring my a paper trimmer back in, and I'm going to cut this. Now, when I cut, I want to make sure that I leave a little bit of a flat edge here and a little bit of a flat edge here. So that's just going to determine where I'm putting my, oh boy, I got that right to the each side. So I guess that's what we're going with. We're going with that. We're just going to cut that right in half. So that's what we have, just like that. And those are going to go on our card. Now, I started with a piece that was 5.5 inches long. So I may have room to cut these down a little bit more. And I do, you can see that it didn't leave enough for me. So I'm just actually going to take my paper trimmer and I'm going to cut these down just a little bit more. I did not place the dies on that paper, on that cardstock, the way I did with the first one. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but we're going to see. Okay. Now these are a little bit, this, I mean, you're not going to, unless you go to the last chance, if they're still available. I haven't even looked. This is a little bit, you know, fragile right here. You could glue that down. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to line this up. This is the same width as my designer series paper. So I'm going to line up those corners with my designer series paper. Like so. Now, if you wanted to have a little edge on the bottom, I suppose you could. It's, you know, it's all you. You do you. Right? And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of this card design? Tell me. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is it cute? It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to work with. Now this one doesn't go all the way to the edge with this because of the way I had this specific die placed, but this does. So I'm just going to tell everybody it was on purpose. So there is that card. And then for this one, I figured I would just pull in, I could do the same on that. I'll just load that up real quick. So I am going to take my beautiful butterflies stamp set, this Time to Celebrate. That needs to be cleaned. Man, that needs to be cleaned. All right, you guys. If you have photopolymer stamps that don't feel like real sticky anymore on the back, you got to clean them. They got dust and dirt and, you know, God knows what else. In my house, cat hair, dog hair. So I'm just going to take an alcohol prep pad. I use these to clean my acrylic blocks and also to clean the backs of my stamps. And I'll just show you. I've done this on a couple of videos. Oh, you can't really see all of the yuck on that, but there is, trust me, there's yuck. And there's like a goop and like this is dirty. So you just come in here and just give it a little wipe. Take that right off. I stand them up this way to let them dry. It's rubbing alcohol, so obviously it will dry relatively quick. Set that aside. So now that my photopolymer stamp has had time to dry, I'm just going to come in here and pick that up. I am going to grab my Melon Mambo. Ink this up, nice gentle taps on here. Don't press it too hard in because these Stampin' Up! Ink pads are super, super juicy. Like, I get ink everywhere. All right, I'm just going to come in here. Firm press, don't rock it. There you go. Nice. Beautiful. Oh, let's do this one while we're at it, while we have it. Okay. Thing. I'm just going to come in here. Now you can see I got ink, like you see I got ink all over that photopolymer stamp, but the ink that's in between, that's not going to end up on my paper unless I rock it, which is why it's really important to just, you want to just go straight down, nice even pressure, and do not rock it. Okay. Okay. And then I think just for this one, I think I just came in with this butterfly, which also needs to be cleaned. Backside of him is a yucke, so give him a second to. Now, I'm going to come in with my pool party. Just put him right on there and tap that into my pool party and just give that a little, oh, geez, I didn't do that very good. All right, well, we'll figure that one out. I'll save that one. There. So other than my really bad stamping on the butterfly, there's that one. So this is also called a fault line card. So this is the first fault line card design. This is the second. And I'll tell you what I liked about this one is it's fast and it's easy, very easy. And it really does give you that wow. What I don't like about this one is you are limited to flipping it this way. So because I like my cards to open this way, I wanted to show you this one. Now, I like my cards opening this way, but I really like this design. So of course, I had to do that. I had to figure out those dimensions so that I could make my fault line card, but make it open that way. So I am just going to clear the deck here. You guys hanging in with me? How you guys doing? Nobody's talking to me. Nobody's talking to me. All right. Are you just all too cold? Are you too cold to type? I don't know. All right. Put this one in here. All right. Get my stuff together. Get your stuff together, Tina. All right. So this is the card we're going to do. Okay. So I loved the fault line look. I did this one this way, but I'm going to demonstrate it so that it opens the other way. All right. Melon MAMBO. So I got all of my ink pads going. And so we're going to use the terrific TOADSTOOLs with the punch. Used this in my last video. And you know, and I said, I'm not really a big mushroom fan. I'm just not, but the paper, the Toadstool Gardens paper with these beautiful pinks and oranges and greens, love, 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 love. And I think that's kind of what drew me to this stamp set. So we are going to, this one, Judy, you like this one the best? This one is very cute. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with our card base, our 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is just your standard card base. Give that a squish. And then we're going to have our layer, which is pumpkin pie. Now, I used in this card, yeah, it's my favorite too, Auntie. In this card, I used, instead of using designer series paper, I used colored cardstock because I wanted that pop. So I am going to take my, you can't really even see it very well, but there is a pumpkin pie layer there. So I'm going to do my same trick as I did before. I'm going to take my layer and I'm going to just chop it up a little bit so that I don't have quite so much bulk in it. We're just going to trim it, rotate and trim it. And do the same. And the same. Aunt Judy, hey, did you happen to see my video? Was it the one I did last week where I showed all of the like the envelopes that are from the 1930s and 1940s? Did you happen to see them? There was one in there from Milton, New Hampshire. So cool. So cool. So I just did that again. There it is. Just made my little frame. Take a little bit of weight out of that card. All right. Let's get this guy glued on here on our card base. Now for this one, again, you know, I'm using a darker colored cardstock for my card base. So you are going to want to put a light card, some piece of light cardstock on the inside so that you have a place to write or whatever. I didn't do that with this one yet because honestly, these are really my first try at these. I've got a few samples that I want to show you. So Judy, go back and watch some of the, I can't remember which one it is. Maybe I can, I don't have them handy. They're super cool. They're super, I have one, there's one wedding invitation from 1920, I think it was. And then there was a graduation from 1926. Oh, they're so cool. They're so cool. Okay. So now I'm going to come in with, I'm going to use this designer series paper. So I'm going to go ahead and put this, I'm just going to lay it on here. I'm not ready to glue this on yet because I don't have my torn edges yet. So I'm just going to kind of lay that on there to figure that out. And then I'm going to, oh, I didn't even tell you what the size of this stuff was. My goodness. So again, with a really narrow border. So I've got my card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. My layer, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. This piece of designer series paper, I'm just going to give that a quick measure on my grid paper, is 4 inches by 4 inches. Okay. So that there. Now we are going to take a piece of basic white cardstock and a piece of Melon Mambo. Now on the first card that I did, remember that card base was cut at 9 inches, scored at 5 1/2. So you had a 3 1/2 inch piece to rip. That's what you have here. So 3 1/2 by 4 for this one. And then this one here is the same 4 inches by, I did 3 1/4 on this one. I gave myself a little more room to do this one. Now, if you don't want to tear the paper, or if you have a hard time with your hands, you know, tearing the paper, you can also cut. So for this one, I do like the torn look, but for this one, I just want to show you, I'm going to get my scissors. These scissors are no longer offered by Stampin' Up, but I had them sharpened and they're one of my favorite long blade scissors. All right, so I'm just going to hold these two kind of centered this way. They're the same width this way, so I'm going to hold it there, and I'm just going to come in with my scissors. You're still cutting in a diagonal fashion, so I'm just going to come in here and just kind of wave, just like so, and like so. Okay. Now, when you're doing cardstock, this heavyweight cardstock, I found that rolling this was a little bit difficult for me. So I just grabbed my little snips, and I'm going to come in here and just drag them along that edge. What it does is it just breaks those fibers up a little bit and creates that little rough edge. And you can do this as much or as little as you want. You can. It helps you roll the paper. And also, if you put your thumb right here towards the edge, that gives it something to kind of roll against. Just be careful you don't cut your fingers with the other blade that you have here. So just going to go ahead and do that with all of these. And if I'm not happy with this, I can come back in now that edge is softened up. I can come back in with my thumb and just give that a roll and a twist like that. Do the same thing with the white. I'm not really being gentle with it. If it rips, it rips. I'm just trying to break up that rigid edge because I cut, not because I didn't tear it. You know what I mean? I cut it, which meant there was a more precise cut edge. So when you tear it, you're actually breaking those fibers. So it will curl a little bit better if you tear. But I mean, some people can't because of their hands. So, okay. Now, make sure I have this in the right direction. I'm just going to come in here and do the same thing. I'm just going to be quick with this one. Do this one real quick. All right, so back in here and just give this a little twist and a fold. Do it as much or as little as you want. If you want to tear it a little bit more, tear it a little bit more. Here. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing great on time. Doing great. Okay. Now, get all of this paper dust. All right, so these ones are, it's going to go together the same way we did with the other one, okay? We're just going to put a little bit of glue, line it up. Make sure there's no open edge there, so make sure you just have it up enough and that your side to side matches. Like so. Do the same thing with this one. And here, line that up like so. I got ink on me, you guys. I know, shocker. And I'm getting it all over the, okay, well, you know, it's the life of a crafter, I guess. That's where we're going to put our embellishments. All right, so I'm going to come in now with this one. Let's see, we'll do this bigger one up. No, we'll do this one up top. Yeah. All right, I am going to put a little bit of Tombow glue on this, and I'm going to line this up with this. I want the stripes to go up and down. And it's okay if there's a little glue there because we're going to glue it right onto that, but you don't want to have any space right there. So this has got to get, I got to push this up a little bit more. Like so. Okay. And then I'm going to put this on my card base. Oops. I'm going to line this up. Oh, dear God, what am I getting all over this card? Line that up there. And then I'm going to come in with this last one. And this one, you're going to line up to wherever you want your border to be, because you're going to have that border for your pumpkin pie. So you just line that border up just like so. Put that on there. All right, let's set that aside. I am going to stamp some mushrooms. All right, let's take that guy and that guy, and we want these stems. I really do wish they had a stem for, I mean, a punch for that big guy, but I suppose he's easy enough. So if you remember in my video last week, I said we got to stamp this upside down. So wherever it is that we're stamping it, because of the way that the punch is, the stamp has to be upside down on your paper so you can feed your paper through. And this is also going to punch, myself a little bit more room. It's also going to punch, it's not going to leave a white border around the mushroom. Okay. And then we're going to do this one here. I'm going to do this little guy in pumpkin pie. And I just got more ink on my fingers. Honestly. This guy also has to be upside down. So there we go there. Close that one up. Get our punch. So the punch locks, that slider just locks. So you can just take, while it's open, you can take your paper, slide it in, hold a little bit of pressure on this before it actually punches. It will hold the paper so that you're not, you know, so you have some time to wiggle it around, and then just punch. And then we're going to put this one in here. I'm going to do the same thing here. Line that up to where you want it and punch. So we have those two. And then we have, let me just get this guy out of the way, have this guy here. I'm going to stamp in the gray granite. And this guy, I'm going to put him right on the edge of this paper because we are going to punch him out. I don't like punch him out, but you know, we're gonna be able to punch her with the punch. This guy, we gotta cut. And that's all right. We can do that. Okay. So we're gonna take our punch now. I think I'm going to cut that guy out first. Hold, please. So I'm just going to come in here with the fussy cutting. And, I'm not. It's funny it's called fussy cutting because I'm literally not being very fussy about it. And when you fussy cut, you turn your paper, not your scissors. You can chop some off if it's a little bit too much to be turning. And come in here, almost done. Go around the bend here. These mushrooms are so, these mushrooms are cute. Wouldn't eat them. Would not eat them, but they are cute. Okay. Now I'm going to take this guy and put it in here. And I do have a little handle I can hold on to. Planned that one out well. So we'll do that. Grab that. Oops, lock that guy up. Get all of our little pieces. And I want to stamp that popping up to say hi. So that it will help me hide that ink I got all over the card. Because I am messy. I am so messy. So we'll grab that and our popping up to say hi. Look, see? I get it everywhere. I get ink everywhere. I would be amazed if I just didn't have ink on me like all of the time. All right, so let's do right here. Okay, set that aside. I'll do that after, and I'm going to give this a nice straight cut because it is easy. So I'm just going to pop that in. Give that a trim there. Turn it. And give it a trim here. So now I have a little sentiment tag. And we can start putting this guy together. All right, so grab my dimensionals. All right, I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, my little sentiment tag. We'll throw him right there. Just like so. And the mushrooms. So when we put the mushrooms together, I'm going to put a dimensional on the back of each one. The stems, however, go on the front of the mushrooms, not the back. So yeah, we can do this with glue. It'll take just a second for it to dry, but we put that, a little dab of glue. Pop that right on there. Give them a second to dry. While that's drying, we'll do this one. Just a little dab. You can use glue dots too. I think in my video last week I used glue dots, but I don't rightly know where those are. So let's pop that on there. And wow, that's crooked, Tina. All right. So this big guy, this big stem, it's big enough to also, because if I have a Stampin' dimensional on here, I need one on the stem also. With the little guy, I can't put a full dimensional on there. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to trim one of these and put that right on the back there. That's going to be really tight, but it fits. And then I'm going to come in with the card. And we're just going to pop this guy on here and this guy on here, like so. Perfect. Well, not perfect. I still have ink to take off of that card, but, or to hide, really, not take off, but hide. All right, so that is our card. So I did this one. The card opens this way, which I love. I love the fact that it opens that way. This was the same basic one, but it just opens this way here. Used a different DSP on the inside. I really like that striped DSP in there. There's that one. Oops, let me get those in the camera there. Those two. Come back in with these ones. This one here was the other design that we did. Let's just, oh, actually, that's the one we actually made. So there. There. And then we made this one. So those are the three, oops, get those down here. Those are the three designs. Those are three different ways that you can make the fault line card. Let me just show you really quickly a couple of, I was just playing around. So I did this one also, using the fresh freesia and granny apple that is found in this DSP. And I used the gorgeous grape for that pop of color. So that one there. And then I did, so I tried this one. This one I think is like an utter failure, but I figured I would show it anyway. I tried using a different border die to do something like this one, but it was kind of wonky. You know, this side looked really nice, but this side looks different. So this was just a practice one. So let's hide that one. Let's hide that one. That one's ugh. All right. And then I did this one here. So I did this one and decided that I wanted it to open this way. So I did the fault line up this way instead of down this way because you don't have as much room this way to do a wide fault line. And I also took the die cut from the beautiful butterflies, and I actually just folded it in half so that it looks like he's dimensional on there. And I cut the body in half so it looked like he was flying sideways. So there is that one. And then these are the ones that these are the other ones that we did that I had. So that is the fault line card. I had a lot of fun making these. They're not difficult. You can see we just did 3 cards in just under an hour. That was with me talking for a little bit in the beginning. So yeah, those are your cards. I hope you try it. Let me just flip back to the laptop camera. Let me see if I can figure that out. Hold, please. Here I am. All right. I hope that you guys had fun with me tonight. I did. I had fun making these, had fun playing around with them. You're not going to want to miss Sunday's video. You're just not going to want to miss it. It's the card, I called it the explosion card. The official name for it, I believe, is called the Twist and Pop explosion card. It's super cute. Let me just give you a sneak peek. Let me see. Can't show you the inside. So I hope you guys join me on Sunday. I had a lot of fun. Let me know if you like having the videos on Wednesday. I really enjoy doing them, and I hope that you guys enjoy watching. So if you are watching over on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. So if you just click the little subscribe button, and if you want notifications on when I go live, click the little bell button that's the little bell symbol that's on there, and you'll get notifications when I go live. I am planning on, I'm going to try to go live on Wednesday evenings, and it's always on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. So I hope that you join me on Sunday, and let me know if you're watching the replay. If you come back and watch the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay and where you're watching from and what the weather is like where you are. All right. I hope you all have a good, whatever you've got left of the week. If you have to work the next couple of days like I do, well, have a good 2 days of work and then have a good weekend. And I will see you on